Well, hello. Hope you're doing well. What to do with AI? That's the question, right? That's the question of the season, I suppose. Um, what I've decided to do with AI is create kind of an RPG story creation engine thing. It's an application. And the goal here is that it's very story focused. So it's using all these, text generation engines and, image generation models and so forth. And it's using this technology behind the scene, right? All that inference, machine learning, blah, 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 technical stuff. And then what it's doing really is it's using all that behind the scenes to create stories and being able to play with stories and play within stories. That's kind of the focus of what I'm creating here. It's sort of a world simulation, so it's going to create it's using the AI in the back end to, generate characters and peoples and lore and all that sort of stuff, right? For a world, and obviously you can change it, manipulate it, and kind of guide it however you want to guide it. And then the end goal here is a little vague. Some of it could just be simple, just role playing. Like the reason people play role playing games just to kind of get invested in a world and just kind of become a character and see what you can do inside of it and so forth. Um, Also, I think this is an interesting tool for kind of world building in general. So a lot of people like just playing physical role playing games and so forth, like D&D and so forth. So I can imagine it would be kind of useful to kind of spark, spark the old imagination, or maybe some novel writing or short story writing, that sort of thing. So I think there's a multitude of ways one could use this sort of tool, this sort of very story focused take on how to use um, AI effectively. Right now, I'm not using like Chat GPT or anything like that. I'm using uh, good old Uba Buga's. Here, let me go to the welcome here. Text generation tool and automatic 1111. So these are essentially kind of wrappers, kind of make easy to install these machine learning models for text generation and image generation. And in particular, this one's kind of focused on stable diffusion. And what they do is they expose an API for me that my little tool here uses to do its little magic stuff. Um, so that's kind of how it works at the technical end, right? And all the technical stuff's kind of boring. What I think is the interesting stuff is what you can do with it, right? So it's effectively what I've done, or what I'm attempting to do, is bundle the AI in such a way that it makes it, some tooling around it, right, to make it easy to do certain things, right? So um, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make it easy to create and interact with stories. That's the goal here. And my microphone keeps slowly going down. I need to get a better stand for my microphone. Um, so that's what this tool is in a nutshell. So you can kind of see what you can do here. All the stuff you can create and everything. So let me just go through and kind of use the tool for a minute here, and that'll give you a better feel for what this thing is. So let's add some lore to our world. What do we want to do? Let's create some creatures. Uh, Oops. Oh, wow. OBS really makes things slow. Let's create creatures. Just call this creatures. Yeah, just what kind is this? Just call it creatures. Doesn't really matter. Prompt. So you always need a prompt, right? We're all prompt engineers at this point. Let's say right. Uh, complete description of the mythical characters in this world. There we go. That'll work. So just have it go off, do its thing here. There we go. We can, oops, have the, I'll show the AI log here so you can kind of see what's going on here in the background. Get rid of this. All right. Creatures. I created some creatures. Elven guardians or ethereal beings, blah, blah, blah. And you can see they kind of created a nice little, some some creatures for me, right? Maybe I like those, maybe I don't like them. I can edit this if I want, whatever. But you can also just expand, like we have the creatures. So underneath that, let's create creature names, and these are creatures, creature descriptions, something like that, right? So this will be a little bit more in-depth creature description, so you can see what it's doing here in the, if you look at the AI log window here. So it's going to create some Eldarion, some Gridlock, and Snaggletooth. Oh, so it's creating specific ones. Whatever. That's part of the joy of this, is you're never quite certain how the AI is going to take your commands. But anyway, so now we've got some creatures here, some Grimlock. I was really kind of hoping for kinds of creatures. So let's start that off. Let's delete the children. Let's do that again. Expand. Let's say creature names. Give me some creature. I guess I'd said creature names, so it's giving me creature names, right? So creature type names. So these are creature type. What's a creature type? I don't know. Type is maybe not the best word there. Anyway, let's see if it does any better here. What's it doing? Goblin Horde Dragon. Okay, so it's Goblin Horde Dragon, Elven Guardian. I guess that's a creature type. Okay, yeah, I could buy that. It's an Elven Guardian, a Goblin Horde, or a Dragon. Let's make some dragons. I like dragons. So what we can do here is we can right-click here. We can say Make People. So, dragons are people too. So we don't really care about that. Let's just say it's a dragon. And hopefully it'll do the right thing if I ask it nicely. It's also generating these images in the background. I probably should turn that off for this demo, because the images for lore is, it's kind of fun, right? To have a little, each lore section has an image, but kind of slows things down when you're trying to demo it. Performance last, always when developing. All right, so what's it doing? Oh, so it's making people. So if we go back here to here, it's made, I call these tribes, it's kind of collections of people, and this could be like a tribe is basically any kind of organization of people, right? So, it could be like a corporate, like a corporation, like that. Or it could be like here we have an alliance, and blah, blah, blah. So scales of power were a diverse group of individuals, each with unique abilities and personalities. They've been blah, blah, blah. So you can see what it's doing here. It's essentially, with kind of very little effort on my part, a few prompts, right? It's created some people. It did not create a dragon. Apparently my prompting is not quite good. Whatever. This is an alpha. I'll give it, let's see, can I delete the children here? Yeah, I don't like these. So let's not have it do that anymore. just delete this whole thing. I don't like it, right? So that's part of the beauty of it, right? It's like, you generate, it didn't work out. You kind of go back, you do it again. So that's how the generation aspect of this works, right? Which I think is kind of a neat aspect, right? So we can create things within the world, right? Add some things. So let's magic spells. So let's see if we can create some magic spells for us, right? So that's a thing. A thing is kind of just generic, whatever, right? So it's gonna create some dispel magic, Protean shield, mage's fire, right? That's kind of cool, right? So you can see what's going on here, right? It's we're just sort of we're having fun, we're grooving, we're just sort of letting the AI do its thing, and we're kind of just along for the ride, right? And obviously you can, like I said, you can kind of come in here and you can edit this, and you don't like that particular wording or whatever, or you can have it try again, that sort of stuff. So that's what this tool is from like a world building perspective. But there's also another thing you can do, which is you can actually have. Let me make this a little bigger. I'm not sure if that's probably gonna mess up all of the video encoding, but whatever. Let's have a random interaction. So one of the neat things you can do is you can essentially just create dialogue, right? You can create a scene, text, right? Using your characters, right? So we're Thalion, or we're playing as Thalion here, right? And, she's having a little conversation with Melina here, and I don't really want to click on Melina there because she doesn't appear to have that many clothes on, so we'll just leave her kind of small at the moment. But anyway, they're in the Elvenwood Forest, and Thalion is trying to keep track of enemy movements and report any blah, 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 right? So Thalion carefully observed the surroundings, keeping track of every move made by the approaching creatures. Her eyes were sharp and quick. He noticed small details others might miss. Yeah, so I'm using a very poor model on the back end. I'm using a 7 billion parameter quantized model, which is actually quite small. I'm surprised at how well it does for how small a model it is. But it's the quality of the output can vary quite a bit depending on the model you're using on the back end. But that's not really what I'm trying to show off. I'm just trying to show off the tool itself, not necessarily the quality of the ZuraBlend ML2 7 billion parameter model, which is apparently what I'm using right here. You can kind of see in the upper left-hand corners, I got the model name. But anyway, so he remained calm, even though he's a she. Whatever, doesn't matter. But we're playing as Thalion. We can do whatever we want. So we can scan the forest for elves. I don't know. See if that does anything interesting. And my microphone keeps slowly but surely kind of going down. All right. So we can see here, it's Thalion scanned the dense foliage around her, looking for signs of elven presence. His keen eyesight glimpses, blah, blah, blah. So it made a little story for us, right? We kind of interacted with it, as Thalion, right? Millennia's not really doing anything here. So let's just say a next scene with a random person, right? Let's just create another scene. We could, kind of go on with Thalion, but whatever. We're busy people. Let's be Gavin for a minute here. So Gavin, I'll kind of show this off. So the way this kind of works behind the scenes, right? So behind the scenes, all this AI text generation stuff, it's all about the context, right? You've got to give the AI enough information to kind of generate your stuff. Excuse me, I had to take a little drink of water there. But the problem is, currently in the modern era, we're in the 64K era. Remember when computers, like 64K was all you ever needed, right? Well, we don't even have 64K. We've got like 2K, or 8K, 16K, 1K. We're in that realm. Well, when you're using kind of local models, if you're using like GPT or whatever, that can be way better, like 100K or whatever. But this tool is really kind of designed. My focus here is like letting you use your own little private models and so forth, because it's way cheaper in the end, and obviously you get to choose the quality of your models and so forth. You don't have to worry about any of that old censorship stuff or whatever. You want to have make a world as weird as you want. Nobody's going to tell you different, right? So that's the goal. That's the goal here. But anyway, I just want to show off her Gavin. If you look here, unfortunately, you can't see my mouse cursor with OBS as I have it set up right now, but I'll highlight this and you can see where I'm looking at here. He has connections with all these things, right? So he's created from lore, right? So he's created from this Humanville place, right? He has goals, right? He wants to train this guy and he wants to learn how to handle a sword, teach how to soar. He wants to mentor. So I guess he's a kind of a mentor kind of guy, right? I don't know. Whatever, that's his backstory. Apparently he's kind of a do-gooder dwarf warrior guy. Anyway, so he's got goals, right? So he wants to do things in the world, right? And then he's also got memories, right? He's memory. This is a memory of this particular scene, right? So this is the memory he will retain from this scene. So his memory is actually bigger than I think the scene itself, which is interesting. But you can see, like, he remembers seeing the large tree catching out towards the starlit sky. So blah blah blah, and his victory. It's not even in here. I'm not sure if that's a good or bad. Oh, it might not be this memory. Anyway, so Gavin chose to pick this hammer and swing it into the ground. I don't know. I'm not even reading the story. I'm not really paying attention. That might not make a lot of sense. Around his eyes catching the bright. Oh, did I mess up? I might have messed up there. Anyway, doesn't really matter. Yeah, we just have one scene going. Blah blah blah. Kaylin, blah blah blah. Anyway, I'm getting lost in the story, and I should be explaining the thing that you can do. But anyway, you can role play, right? That's essentially what I'm trying to show off here. Let's actually become Gavin here for a minute. Give it a minute here. I right-clicked on Gavin, and we will become Gavin. Denoted because he's got a little asterisk next to him there. And, we can have random interactions, but we can actually just say we want to have a particular interaction with good old Runa here, right? So I'm right-clicking on Runa. It's taking a minute. You can see if you look at the AI log, what it's doing here. It's saying, hey, what are some things I can do with Runa, right? That would be interesting, right? Guide her through understanding, introduce her to the different types of magic, blah, blah, blah. Or you can just interact with, right? Say hi, right? We'll just say hi to Runa. We'll keep it simple. And say hi, that's what we're doing here. 20 years old, male Gavin, standing near the ancient blah, blah, blah. He looked around curiously, thinking his surroundings, blah, blah, blah. His eyes caught sight of something unusual, small female, blah, 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 blah. Hey there, he says. I haven't seen you here before. What's your name? Ask her what her name is. So let's have a little conversation with good old Runa. Runa shivering slightly despite the warm sunshine. We called her blah blah blah, and you can kind of see. Like I'm gonna click on it. So Gavin, understanding the urgency of the vision, he looked at the sky. No, yeah. Blah blah blah. You can kind of see these are his memories of the thing, right? These are her memories of what's going on here. She introduced herself as Runa. What's something interesting we do with Runa? Ask her to teach me how to cast A spell. Sure, why not? Nothing can go wrong with that. Oh, this is a bug. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll note that. Alpha software. Uh, it's changing the location every time because I recently modified how I do location stuff. So that's what's going. That's why we're jumping from place to place, right? Because it's just kind of picking a random location. But anyway, let's see if it actually messes with what we're doing here. Blah blah blah. Engrossing conversation. There's scriptures and spells and magic, specifically there. Interesting by knowledge. Gavin requested lessons from her, hoping to learn about the mystical art himself. Chose to listen to her. Let's just say listen to her. I don't know. You know, we're just having fun. Anyway, this is kind of the thing, right? You're you know, the AI kind of get, well, especially with this particular model, you know, 'cause it's not super bright. It's kind of a dumb model, really. It keeps repeating itself once it kind of gets into a little pattern here. So anyway, I can work on that later. Resigning with blah blah blah. Mr. Clamor, blah blah. You found Solace in the corner. Converse with her tales of magic, cat fighting, whatever. Right? It's a story. It's generating a story. The quality of it isn't really what I'm trying to show off here. I just want to show off that this is a tool for how to use AI to generate stories and interact with these stories in kind of like an RPG kind of fashion, right? A role-playing game. You know, like I said, you can kind of create lore here. You can create things from the lore. You can, you know, you have the scenes and so forth. And that's kind of where I'm going with this, right? So you can see that I've, you know, I've got a little UI going here. I think it's not a horrible UI. It's probably not the best UI in the world, but it works. And anyway, that's where I'm at. That's what I've been up to. That's what I'm doing. So if you're interested in this, I have a URL that I'm sure I'll be posting, you know, underneath this video and all over the place on how to download this. If you just look at my GitHub, look at my recent repositories on my GitHub, you'll find it. You'll find the compiled version of this, right? I'm not necessarily going to make this open source. I don't think I'm going to make it open source. We'll see. But anyway, it's free for now. You can use it, do whatever you want to with it. Like I said, you do have to have the text generation tool and the image generation tool installed if you want the generation to work for you. I have the demo, like this demo world already kind of pre-created, and you can kind of load it. And if you load it, it'll kind of just take you to this thing. So you'll see the images and so forth, but you won't be able to interact, right? Because you don't have anything on the back end to do anything. Really, that's about it. That's really all I kind of wanted to say. I don't know how long I've been talking for here. I've been talking for 23 minutes. So if you've put up with me for this long, I appreciate it. But yeah, that's really it. It's kind of fun. It's a fun tool to you know, just play with stories, right? Just play with all these neat AI tools like the text generation and all that sort of stuff. And just kind of you know, create and have fun with it, and just kind of do whatever, create all sorts of crazy stuff. Oh, I guess I can show off that, you know, you can update the image, right? So you can say, I don't like that image, you know, generate me another image. One of the neat things I've noticed, like all this thing has to go on, right, is the description that it auto-generated itself, to try to create an image, right? And so what I do is I just sort of ask the language model, you know, hey, what does this thing look like, right? And then it just sort of spits out some text, right? And I just gotta feed that to the image generation model, and you know, hey, presto, it actually comes out pretty good. It's surprising, honestly, how well that works. Just doing that. But you know, we could have some fun with Snaggletooth here and so forth. But anyway, I'm just rambling at this point. If you have any questions, just hit me up on, you know, the social medias and so forth. But anyway, I just want to show this off. I'm going to be working on this pretty hard. I want to try to get it to a point where it's, you know, people use it and like it and so forth. I might actually try to spin up a back end for it. Obviously, there's a cost thing associated with that, so I don't know how that's going to work exactly. But I think I can do it for pretty cheap. So I don't know. We'll see. But for now, this is very much a BYOB, right? Bring your own back end sort of thing. But we'll see. Maybe I'll create some sort of back end and have fun that way. But anyway, I just want to kind of show off what I'm up to. And that's about it. Catch you later. Bye.